What's going on, guys? Welcome to the weekly live chat. I do these every single Wednesday, or I try to do them every single Wednesday. And here we are. We got actually some decent news. Last week, there wasn't really a whole lot of news. There hasn't been a lot going on the past few weeks in MMA, but we have some decent stuff to talk about today. And honestly, we can always find stuff to talk about. And we have fights this weekend, which I don't even know if I want to get into that card. That's why I didn't put it in the title. But it is the 76th live chat. That's crazy. It is September 28th, 2022. The channel currently has exactly 5,100 subscribers. If you're one of those subscribers, I appreciate you very much. If you're not, do me a favor and go subscribe to the channel this very second and turn on notifications. I'm probably going to have a video out later, potentially talking about Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington. I'm debating about doing that. I have like 4 or 5 video ideas I really would like to do. I just haven't had time to do. But here we are. I'm going to answer all your guys' questions. So if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. Do me a favor. If you're watching live or you're watching this in the distant future, like the video. I would greatly appreciate it. Help support the channel. We're trying to hit 10K before the end of the year. So I would greatly appreciate that. And I put in the title, we're going to talk about Khamzat Chimaev, Colby Covington. There's some talk of that fight. We're going to talk about Bo Nickal's UFC future, his UFC debut. And we're also going to talk about Conor McGregor and USADA, because I feel like it's not getting talked about enough. I did a video on it. I know a lot of you guys have seen that video, but I just feel like it's crazy the amount of attention it's getting, which is virtually none. It's literally getting no attention. This is one of the bigger stories in MMA, and the MMA media is just completely ignoring it. It's very strange. Also, news actually, I don't want to call it breaking news. It's kind of corny ass news. But we also have to talk about Mackenzie Dern. We knew something weird was going on with the Apex this weekend. And we're going to talk about supposedly Mark Zuckerberg is renting out the UFC Apex this Saturday for Mackenzie Dern versus Yan Shanat. Hold on. So we can talk about that. That literally just came out. Mackenzie Dern I don't think she was supposed to say that, but she said it in a scrum. And she spilled the beans, I guess. That's what they called it. I don't think that's massive news. I think that's a little bit weird. We'll talk about that here on there. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. But let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Bo Nickal is excellent in hyping his name up. I think I want to see him against an underrated prospect like Nick Maximoff or Julian Marquez. Fair enough. Bo Nickal looks more dominant than Chimaev so far. Do you even want me to respond to that? Honestly, did you think about what you said before you said it? In that case, I look more dominant than Bo Nickal beating up 2-year-olds. So that's very dumb. But what's up, Iceman, aka Ice Cream Man? What's up, Alex? What's up, Billy? Thoughts on Zuckerberg renting out the Apex? We're gonna get to that in a second, man. We're gonna talk about that in a second. Let me go through some of these messages. USADA responded to the Conor thing and blew it up. They didn't really respond. Those people made 9 articles. They made 9 articles. I don't even know why they published those articles. They were literally pieces of shit. There was nothing of any substance in those articles, which we're going to talk about again in a second as well. And that's another thing. Why the F would Zuckerberg pick this fight night? let me go to my Twitter real quick. By the way, guys, if you're not following me on Twitter and Instagram at MMA Joey C, go follow me, Twitter and Instagram. Help me get my following up. I want to hit 1,000 followers on Twitter. But let me head on over to my Twitter. The last thing I tweeted out, I believe, besides the link to this live stream, I tweeted out, I quoted the video of Mackenzie Dern saying Mark Zuckerberg rented out the entire event. My tweet says, imagine having Mark Zuckerberg money and renting out a UFC event with Mackenzie Dern versus Yan Shanat as the main event. I think that pretty much says it all. I'm going to read through a couple of these messages and then we'll start getting into some of these topics. I like to mix it in, because sometimes I get on a 20-minute rant about a dumbass topic, and so I like to read some of the messages and then get into the topics. Lurking today, playing Undisputed 3. No problem. Appreciate you just tuning in. Dabrowski says facts. I'm not sure what that was about, but appreciate you. I get Nickal fought nobodies, but so did Chimaev until Burns. They both look dominant as hell. Don't get me wrong, but Nickal looks explosive as hell. Chimaev is literally leaps and bounds better than anyone. Wait. Did I say that right? I think I said Chimaev. Gerald Meerschaert is leaps and bounds better than every single person that Bo Nickal has fought thus far. So let's stop. You know, he fought nobodies until Chimaev fought nobody until Burns. Gerald Meerschaert, I get it, not the best. Dude is world class compared to the people Bo Nickal's fighting. These are guys that are literally grocery store cashiers. And then you have the Leech, way better than anybody Bo Nickal has ever fought. You know, that's not even. Think about what you're saying and think about the evidence you have to support it beforehand. You know? Chimaev had some good wins before Burns. Exactly. He had at least 2 good wins. Khamzat beat Ikram as well. Yeah, but I don't know if that really counts. Who knows where Ikram was at that point. But I think it's most likely better than the opponents that Bo's fought. Essentially, they might as well plucked me out of my office chair and thrown me in there with Bo Nickal. He's only had 7 fights. 3-7 is pretty damn good. Covington is best possible matchup for Khamzat. Costa is the worst. Costa needs time to gain weight for Costa. Khamzat needs time to gain weight for Costa. After that, he can't return to 170. Yeah, I think the UFC wants to keep him at 170. Okay, now that we got through some of these messages, you guys can continue to throw questions in the chat. But we're going to get back to besides you's question about Zuckerberg. What do I think about Mark Zuckerberg renting out the entire Apex? While I truly believe this is kind of a non-story, I do understand that people are intrigued by this. And I think it is a little bit bizarre and fascinating. But my thoughts are, first off, if you have Mark Zuckerberg money, why are you renting out this fight night? My first thought, the first thing that popped in my mind, I'm not saying this is accurate. I'm like, is Mark Zuckerberg some type of Mackenzie Dern simp? Is he trying to flex on Mackenzie Dern right now? My second thought is, obviously this has something grander than him just renting it out. He's not saying, oh, I got to go to this fight night. But I do find it funny, regardless of what it is, whether it's something to do with that metaverse that, you know, Dana and Zuckerberg have been talking about for literal, you know, like a year and a half now or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly. I find it awfully funny. Somebody in Mark Zuckerberg's, you know, place, essentially, he says, you know what? I don't want to see all these, you know, poor people, essentially. I don't want to be hanging out with poor people, because he could have easily went, and I'm assuming he could have done whatever he wants to do with still having other people there. But he's like, you know what? I don't want to be hanging around these poor people. That's my second thought. Third thought is, whatever they're cooking up, whatever Dana White and Mark Zuckerberg are cooking up, I could give less of a shit about it. It's going to be something corny. It's going to be something like, you know, they've talked about like having like some weird virtual reality fight bullshit. Like one thing that hurts about being an MMA fan in general is I feel like a lot of the time we get our intelligence insulted consistently by the UFC and just by what they try to advertise and sell to us. I mean, I may offend somebody in this chat. I apologize if I offend you. Who's buying these NFTs, these fighter NFTs? That is a scam, in my opinion. Okay? Maybe it's not. In my opinion, I believe it's a scam. That's the shit they're trying to advertise to us. And it's just always these weird gimmicks. Like, oh, you know, you have to buy Dana White's alcohol now. You know, not that that's a gimmick, but you get my point. You got the NFTs, and now it's going to be, oh, you got to get a virtual reality headset. I'm telling you right now, if they ever tell me you got to buy a virtual reality headset to watch a fight, I think I might quit watching MMA. And I may go and burn the Apex down myself, because that would be a smack in the face. And I just find it weird, you know. I understand their audience is primarily males from like the 18 to 35 age demographic. But it's like, man, are they really insulting us this badly? They're constantly trying to sell us NFTs and constantly trying to give, shoving DraftKings down our throats, trying to get us to go in debt for DraftKings, or FanDuel or whatever the bullshit they're peddling every week. For me, it's like, I feel like it's going to be something corny. I wonder what it's going to look like. I wonder how many people are going to be there. Is it just going to be like Dana White, the referees, the judges, and Mark Zuckerberg? You know what I'm saying? Like, who? I'm curious what the guest list is. Is Mark Zuckerberg just renting it out and bringing his whole fam there? You know what I mean? Or bringing a bunch of weird, others, other elites of some sort, other billionaires or millionaires or whatever the hell he is. I think he's a billionaire at this point. Is he just bringing them with him? And it's going to have some weird, like, golf clapping going on in the stands. So I have nothing against Mark Zuckerberg. I think it's balling. I mean, I'd love to go rent out UFC 280 and just be there chilling by myself. Bring some of the members with me. But it's just very bizarre. There's something behind this. I just want you, if you remember anything from this live chat and anything about this whole Zuckerberg renting out the Apex situation, it's going to be some type of gimmick they're coming up with. That's my final thoughts on that. Some type of gimmick that Dana White and Zuckerberg are cooking up, and it's going to have to do with Facebook and Instagram and some corny fight bullshit. That's really my thoughts. That's my thoughts on that. So if you guys, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're watching this after the fact. If you guys, whoever watches these live streams afterwards, comment down below. Let me know that you're watching them. I'm curious how many people watch these after they're no longer live. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, metaverse, whatever the hell you want to call it, corny ass bullshit. Maybe he's just a Mackenzie Dern simp, and he's hoping to get a speck of blood on him from Mackenzie Dern or something. Okay, let's continue. My Venom tracksuit looking very drippy. Yep, maybe he wants some of Dern. Mark got sparring videos. I think he'll call out Elon Musk. Yeah, imagine they're working on some type of celebrity boxing match. Count me out of that corny ass shit as well. Mark is Dana's successor to be president. LOL. Imagine he's buying the UFC. Imagine he's buying the UFC. Elon Musk built like an upside down bowling pin. I did see that weird picture of him shirtless. Bo draws the line at the UFC. I don't know what bro draws the line at the UFC. I don't know what you're saying there. Just like that betting dude they support who has the worst betting record ever. I'm sure some viewers legit bet on his picks. Yeah, it's just corny shit. There's another example. Corny shit after corny shit after corny shit. Whether they're trying to shove it down our throats, whether they're trying to, sell something to us. I'm just so tired of it, man. I'm just so tired. I just feel like, here's another thing that I think of when I lump this all in with that stuff. The shitty ass movies that they try to jam down our throat. I'm a massive movie watcher. I, enjoy watching movies. I'll go see a lot of movies. But every movie that they're advertising on a UFC commercial of some sort or ESPN Plus of some sort, count me out because that shit, even from the trailer, you can tell it's garbage. So there's another thing. You got the weird gambling shit. You got the DraftKings, shoving down your throat. You got Gianni the Greek, which you can all lump in together. You have the weird ass NFT necklaces. You have the hot dog branders. You have all the weird bullshit that they try to shove down our throat repetitively. And it's actually really annoying. It's actually quite annoying. Okay, where are we at? I'll help you burn the Apex, Joey, especially the Ultimate Fighter house. They always use, yeah. The meta fights. Zuckerberg started training since Patty called him out. His first event, maybe. He's probably just simping for Dern. Yanni the Great. Mackenzie Dern is not even that attractive, though, to be honest. I talked about this before. I think it's one of those things where you start comparing and contrasting to other women UFC fighters, and you have that effect. I usually watch the live stream afterwards just in the background while doing other stuff. Appreciate you, my friend. The guy who did the post-fight in Paris should take over for Dana. Seems like he knows his shit. No way they let his successor be as much of a personality as Dana. I don't remember who that was. It's somebody that already works for him, though, for sure. I actually hope Yan beats Dern. I actually hope Yan beats Dern. That's the way you feel, Sammy. I think Dern can have some fun fights at the top of the division. I don't think Yan can. I want Mackenzie Dern to win. So I disagree. Bellator card this weekend might be better than UFC. It might be. So I don't think if you're part of the members Discord, you probably already know this. I believe I told you guys in the Discord. But what I'm probably going to do this Saturday is I'm not going to stream the UFC card. I might start streaming right before the main event of the UFC card. I haven't decided yet. And I'm going to stream Bellator. I'm going to stream Bellator this Saturday and not stream the UFC card. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. And Friday, I may stream the ONE FC card or ONE Championship card, whatever you want to call it. So, give me 1 second. Okay. But yeah, I think the Bellator card's much better. Let me go to Tapology real quick. Major upcoming promotions. ONE Championship. ONE on Prime Video 2, which I'm probably almost definitely going to watch. I might only do the main card. But yeah, that's Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what time the main card starts. I'm assuming maybe 8 p.m. is the main card, but I'll have to clarify on that. But I'm probably streaming that. I'm most likely going to stream the one on Prime too. The last event, how can I not support the next event? You know what I mean? Where is Bellator at now? Of course, sometimes I hate Tapology's website. They do a piss poor job. Bellator 286. I'll probably do the main card of that. Juan Archuleta, Enrique Barzola, Aaron Pico versus Jeremy Kennedy, AJ McKee, Spike Carlisle, Patricio Pitbull versus Adam Borix. I think that's a damn fine main card. That is a solid main card. If you could only watch one this weekend, I'm watching Bellator 286, guys. I am watching a Bellator 286. It is vastly superior to UFC Vegas 61. The Zuckerberg event, which is corny as hell, honestly. You missed my clarification. I said I feel like Nickal looks more dominant against trash can opponents than Chimaev did, if that makes sense. I guess it makes sense, but I disagree with you. Yan is so mid. Yan via self armbar. Yeah, I predicted Mackenzie Dern first round sub. If you guys haven't watched it, let me go see. I think it's atrocious right now. I need you guys to do me a big favor after this because I work on these videos and I knew it wasn't going to do good, but I have to do every main event. I force myself. Go watch my Mackenzie Dern, Yan Shanat breakdown and prediction after this. I know it's painful. I know we don't care about the fight. I literally have gotten no views on that at all because nobody cares. But I have never missed a main event, so I insisted on having to do it. Is that real? Is that real? Let me check that out. I don't believe you. Let me see. Let me take a look. Holy, you're right. Holy shit. Our man Sarukian versus Damir Ismagulov, December 17th. It's not 100% official yet. That's an amazing fight. That's an amazing fight, guys. That's a straight up amazing matchup. I mean, I know there's some people who don't know who Damir Ismagulov is if you don't follow his sports super close. But our man Sarukian Damir Ismagulov is a banger of a lightweight matchup. And I hate using that term. I hate when people say that term. But it is. I mean, that is a top tier lightweight matchup that I think people are going to complain about. I wouldn't even have a problem if that was a fight night main event. When is Joey doing a meet and greet? I have no idea, Sammy. When someone donates a $500 super chat, well, I'll start thinking about it. Shevchenko or Nunes for women's GOAT? Shevchenko. Sarukian Ismagulov. Thank you, Nebnos, for confirming that. That's crazy, man. That is absolute insanity. Arman Sarukian versus Damir Ismagulov. Let me pull up their topologies real quick just so I can refresh myself, even though I kind of remember on who they last fought. I thought Sarukian won his last fight. I think he should be borderline in a #1 contender fight right now. Damir had a very close fight, but it was against Guram Kutaladze. So what's crazy to me is you have two guys. Yeah, it was Guram, so I don't even need to look this up. But let's look up the rankings real quick. Because let's talk about this. I mean, this is breaking news. Damir Ismagulov, Arman Sarukian. Amazing lightweight matchup. If you don't know who those two guys are, I think they could be the future of the division. Okay, that's how good that matchup. That is a straight up amazing matchup. Okay, let's take a look at the rankings real quick. Damn, Damir Ismagulov's sitting at number 12 now. Arman Sarukian sitting at number 10. Arguably, Arman Sarukian should be in a #1 contender fight, or even maybe a fight beyond that, fight before that is what I mean. Because Gamrot is fighting Beneil Dariush, and that could arguably be a #1 contender fight. But I think Gamrot lost to Sarukian. It was a close fight. It was a great fight. It was not a robbery. I thought Sarukian won. I don't want to say it was 100% clear, but I think they gave Gamrot a round where he got dropped in that round, which I think is egregious. Damir in his last fight, razor close fight with Guram Kutaladze, June of this year. He won via split decision. He was twitching the whole time. Both guys, I think Guram, you take Guram Kutaladze, he's not even ranked, okay? I'm not sure he wouldn't beat Charles Oliveira right now, okay? I'm not saying he would. I'd probably pick Charles Oliveira, but I wouldn't be confident in that, okay? Same thing with Dustin Poirier. I'd probably pick Poirier, but Guram is that good. Same with Justin Gaethje. I'd probably pick Gaethje, but Guram is that good. Islam Makhachev, similar scenario right there. Michael Chandler, similar scenario. I'd probably pick Guram over Beneil Dariush. I'd probably pick Guram over Dos Anjos. I think Guram could beat Gamrot. Guram would definitely beat Conor. Guram versus Jalen Hooker would be fun. Guram would murk Dan Hooker. Guram would murk Tony Ferguson. So that's how good these guys are. In case you missed the grasp on this, I think it would not be far-fetched to say that Arman Sarukian and Guram... why am I talking about Guram? Oh, I was talking about Guram because of the fight with Damir. So that's how good Guram is. And Damir beat him. It was a very close competitive fight. But again, that's how good Guram is. So Damir, same thing. It wouldn't shock me if he could beat, Dustin Poirier or Justin Gaethje or Islam Makhachev or Michael Chandler. And I'm not saying I'd pick him. Again, I'm not saying that I would pick him. But that's how good some of these guys are. And it's the same for Sarukian. I do not think it's far-fetched to say that Sarukian or Ismagulov could be future champions, or even Guram, honestly. And he's not even ranked. So I'm shocked that Conor McGregor's ranked above Damir. Conor has finally fallen to number 11. Hasn't won a lightweight fight since 2016. I don't know how he's still ranked. Hasn't been tested since 2021. I don't know how he's still ranked. But he is. Tony Ferguson, get him out of the rankings. After what I saw against Nate Diaz, I see no more. Please, don't make me watch Tony Ferguson versus anyone ranked. Gregor Gillespie, shame on you. Dude was calling out the corpse of Tony Ferguson for like 6 months straight. So, that's a banging fight. Which way do I lean? Because I know that's what you guys are going to ask next. Do I lean Sarukian or do I lean Damir? I probably lean Sarukian. I think Damir's a little bit better striker. I think the grappling advantage maybe goes to Sarukian, but it's hard to say. It's a very tough matchup. Very tough matchup to pick. That's one of the closest fights on paper I've seen. But I'll probably go Sarukian, honestly. I have to dig deeper into that matchup. But that is an amazing, amazing, amazing matchup. And sign me up for that. Okay, let's go back to some questions. Thank you again for letting us know on that information. I went to O'Malley Gaming stream and said, bro, how could you always on the game? And his mods got pissed at me. It sounds like simps. Joe, I don't understand why they say Usman is on roids when Conor's the one who looks like he's on roids. I don't think you can diagnose anyone of PED use from pictures, but Conor not being tested tells me he's on roids. Khamzat cannot out-wrestle Bo, so Khamzat will have to stick to stand-up. So why can't Bo beat him? What do you say? Bo Nickal versus Khamzat Chimaev. We have not seen Bo Nickal striking for more than 10 seconds. I think right now, from what I've seen from Khamzat Chimaev, he has very good striking, very good power. I think the wrestling would cancel each other out. I think Khamzat would absolutely murk Bo Nickal on the feet. He'd leg kick him. He'd punch him in the face. I think he'd be far more comfortable on the feet. I think he's fought better opponents. We have a bigger sample size. I think Bo Nickal will get starched. I think all these wrestling just, nut huggers, for lack of a better word, are just hyping up Bo Nickal nonstop. What's up, Joey? Would love to see Nickal versus Meerschaert. Did you watch the video? Did you think of that before I said that, or after, or did you just see it from my video? But yeah, I think that's a great matchup. Meerschaert is the measuring stick in the division. Khamzat versus Nickal is such a good matchup. It'll never happen, though. The UFC wants to build Bo Nickal. They see him as a future star, and therefore, that's what's going to happen. That's wild. I'm leaning Demir. I'm leaning Armin. Demir versus Armin announced. You got an imposter in Dan Hardy's chat. That's very strange. What are they saying? Banger alert. There you go. Who do you have for RoboCop versus Brad Tavares? That's a tough matchup to pick, but I'm probably going RoboCop. Dude just looked invincible. I picked him in his last 2 fights. He's just so durable. Has nasty power. I'm picking him. Well, that will be a banger fight. Guram is top 15 level, though. Agreed. Worst cut in UFC history? Probably. What's up, Jerry? What's going on? Who is Guram fighting next? Lightweight is so stacked. No idea. What do you think is next for Umar Nurmagomedov? I was hoping for maybe Ricky Simone. Guram beat Gamrot. Very, very true, but Gamrot won that fight. It was very close, though. Guram versus Joel Alvarez. Sign me up, but I think Joel Alvarez gets spanked. Jose Aldo removed from the rankings. Depressing as hell. What's up, Vince? RoboCop is signed to fight Tavares. How is that a step up from Chidi, in my opinion? And props to Gregory. I think Tavares is still very good. People don't give him enough respect. But I got RoboCop in that one. What about Nickal versus Kelvin Gastelum? They would never do that. And Kelvin Gastelum has a fight against Nasruddin Imavov. Andre Petroski beats Bo Nickal. Said it first. I wouldn't shock me if anyone beat Bo Nickal. I mean, people are just nut hugging him because he's a wrestler. Dude has beat nobody. I mean, I went through the resumes of the guys he beat. I mean, they've literally fought bums to get the record they have. One of the guy that he beat last night has a win over a guy who's like 3-8 in his pro MMA fighting record. Yeah, so I think Gamrot and Armin are Islam's worst matchup. Probably just because of the grappling. If you can stop. There's a lot of these guys that if you can stuff the takedown and you're not scared of the takedown, you can do some serious damage. And that's why I'm leaning Charles Oliveira. Because of his ability to not be worried about the takedown and move forward. Do you think wrestling cancel each other out? Bro is a world-class wrestler on a whole different level. He should be able to take Chimaev. He's not taking Chimaev down. It ain't happening. There's a big difference between college wrestling and MMA. It's not the same thing. I saw the video, but I also thought that with the Khamzat call-out, Nickal should probably not fight someone like that yet. I was looking at Khamzat past opponent, and Meerschaert matchup works. Yeah, it does. It works perfectly. Joey, who are you picking in this fight? Mighty Mouse DJ versus Figueiredo? I'm going with DJ. I'm going with DJ as well. Better grappling. Yeah, I think DJ is just super well-rounded. GM3 lost to a guy with over 100 losses. Okay. You can't get better? Bo is getting the Sugar Show treatment. Would not surprise me. I mean, Sean O'Malley's been in the UFC for like 6 years. People don't realize. 6 years. And dude's just finally getting his first test in the cage. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? RoboCop, the face of a 45-year-old man and a 30-year-old boxer. Yeah, RoboCop looks old as hell, but I mean, dude is a fighter. He's a great fighter for sure. Exactly, you can get better. Yeah, I'm so tired of people saying, like when we're talking about how good a fighter is, and they're saying, well, they lost to the so and so back in 20 years ago, or they even talk about someone's resume and they'll be like, they beat someone 15 years ago. I'm like, dude, the context is key. It doesn't matter if I whooped John Jones's ass when he was 11 years old and I was 25. That doesn't mean I'm good now, and because he's the world champion, he's the best. I'm so tired of people using that as an excuse to down guys or elevate guys. You should not be downing a guy off a loss from years ago, and you should not be elevating a guy off a win from over a guy who wasn't even that good when they fought him. How is Mike Jackson a dude who struggled to beat CM Punk still in the UFC? I have no idea. It's weird. Rosas looks old for a 17-year-old. Yeah, he looks like a mix of Bigfoot Silva and Max Holloway. Joey, who do you want to win? I want Charles to win for sure. I'm a big Charles fan. McGregor beat Poirier when he was young, and you saw what happened. Exactly. It was nowhere near the Poirier that we saw today. So I don't really feel like you can count that win, just like you can't count Joe Duffy's win over Conor McGregor when he was super young. You can talk about it. You can take it into account. But you can't say, oh, well, this guy, look who he beat. You know, if I beat up every champion in the UFC right now, every current champion, but it happened when they were all 10 years old and I was 29, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. And that's the best comparison you can give. Mike Jackson didn't struggle with CM Punk. He played with him all. I don't know. Either way, it was an awful fight. He didn't finish him. If you go out there and you fight CM Punk and you don't finish him, you're a garbage can. CM Punk, Mike Jackson was literally thrown in there. He was signed in hopes that CM Punk would beat him and they could milk him for a second fight and hopefully draw some pay-per-view buys. I can't get over this Saruki and Demir matchup. That's an amazing matchup, guys. What time is the early prelims for you and what time are you waking up? I don't remember what time the early prelims are. I don't remember. I think 10 a.m. So I'll probably sleep in my Venom gear so I can roll out of bed. Boom. Roll out of bed and be ready for UFC 280. But let me take a look. Even ESPN doesn't have the times. It says prelims 10 a.m., so I'm assuming that includes the early prelims. Guys, do me a favor if you're watching and you have not yet liked the stream. I would greatly appreciate it if you like the stream. Also, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. We're slowly creeping towards 10,000. So, yeah, UFC 280 is creeping up quick. Canetti needs to win this Saturday so he gets to fight 17-year-old Rosas next, oldest versus youngest bantamweight. That would be funny. Dana said that he would make sure Jackson will not fight in the UFC again, but look at him still there. Does he have a fight book, though? It's hard to say. Early prelims 7, prelims 10. I don't know. That's what it says on ESPN, so I have no idea. You're probably right, though. But right now, it doesn't even show an early prelims for the card on ESPN. Doesn't even show it. What's up, Joey? Long time. Good to see the channel growing from when there was 100 of us. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. We're at 5,000 now. We're well over 5,000 now, and we're creeping towards 10,000. That's the next big goal. 10,000 will be insanity. We might even hit 6,000 from UFC 280 because there's going to be a lot of videos be pumped out left and right. And I feel like there's a lot of big news on the horizon too. So thank you, Mike, for your support. I greatly appreciate it. Jackson is fighting Pete Rodriguez. Okay. Yeah, the next card. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know. I didn't even care to see that. Is Shogun still fighting? I think so. As far as I know, he has not retired. As far as I know, Shogun is still fighting. But I think I might make a video about this, but I'll tell you guys on stream in case I don't make a video about it. But you guys will be the insiders. You 70, 60, 70 people will be the first to hear this news, okay? You guys will be the first to hear this breaking news. And I actually tweeted this out halfway as a joke. But this is what I believe is going to happen, okay? You heard this here first. And I've talked about this even a couple weeks ago. So if you've been following the channel, you've been watching the live streams, you know this is my thought process. And usually when I try to guess at these things, they're almost always right. Now, don't get me wrong. Can it easily be wrong? Yes, I'm sure I've been wrong before. I'm not hyping myself up as some, amazing person or anything like that. I think there has been rumored UFC 283 in December in Las Vegas. There has been a rumored Stipe Miocic-John Jones fight. Has not materialized. There has been rumors for 2 months, Yuri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira as the main event. Yet to be announced. What's going on there? We're not that far. We're 2.5 months away. Okay? Should have been announced by now. So that leaves you with the question, what's going on? What's going on? Why don't we have a main event? I mean, it's not as egregious as 279 with no fights on the card until 2 weeks beforehand. But it just raises your eyebrow. Like, what is going on here? I believe what will happen with UFC 283, per sources, Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington will be the main event of UFC 283 in December in Las Vegas, because Yuri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira 2 for the light heavyweight title will be pushed to UFC 283. Wait, I'm mixing it all up. It's UFC 282. I'm dumb. So per sources, the main event of UFC 282 will be Khamzat Chimaev, Colby Covington. And it was originally supposed to be talked about Yuri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira 2. I believe they were moving that fight to UFC 283 in Brazil. The new main event, well, not new main event because nothing has been official, will be Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington. And hear me out, my thought process behind this. Khamzat Chimaev was scheduled to be the main event versus Nate Diaz at UFC 279. Colby Covington was the main event of UFC 272 versus Jorge Masvidal. So UFC has no problem putting them in main events. Put them in a main event against each other. Khamzat Chimaev has been talking about Colby Covington for 6 months. Colby Covington's been radio silent. He's in witness protection. He's got to come out eventually. He's got to make some money. I believe we will get Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington at UFC 282. Main event, non-title, 5 rounds. And hopefully they stack the card underneath of it quite a bit. So there you go. You heard it from me first. I saw an interview with Dana recently. He said a doctor did a DNA test and saw. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't even pay attention to that. Hey, MMA Joey, can you comment on the recent MMA Guru controversy? I really don't know what it is outside of some people said in the chat, but I don't even know really any details of it. Does anyone know if early prelims are at 7 or just 10? I don't know. Nobody knows yet. Are you from Baltimore? Yes, I am. Chimaev, the quick turnaround king. Yes. Per sources, what sources is this true? Quit playing. I think Bo Nickal will be on the December card. Yeah, that's what he wants. I don't watch. Someone else played breakdown of Colby Usman 1. He wasn't wrong. Yeah, I have no idea. Hamzat tweeted 185 and then tweeted Colby. I don't understand. Dude, it's tweets. People were acting like tweets are something set in stone. I mean, come on now. I'm so tired of this bullshit with tweets. Like MMA media. I mean, they literally... There was full articles about Khamzat Chimaev tweeting out 185 with 2 emojis. Tweets don't necessarily mean shit, okay? They're a piece of the story, but they're nothing. I believe, and I want you to mark my words, and I'm probably going to make a video about it tonight, and maybe with an early prediction for Khamzat versus Colby. I believe it will be the main event of UFC 282. Do you pay for the pay-per-views or do you stream them? I pay for the pay-per-views. I can't deal with any bullshit having to worry about anything. I just buy them. I bought every single one of them for like last 8 years or so. So, do you pay will Khamzat become champ before taking his L? Will Khamzat become champ before taking his L? Potentially. Potentially. It depends who he fights. It really does depend who he fights. Because if he fights Paulo Costa, I could really see him losing to Paulo Costa. But if the UFC book him versus Colby Covington, like I believe that he will, I think no, because I think he'll beat Colby, and then I think he beats, whether it's Leon Edwards or Kamaru Usman, I think he beats them. So that's what I think will happen. But we'll see, depending on how he gets match made. Depending on how he gets match made, that's how we will know. Fell asleep in my Venom tee and woke up with a 6-pack. God is good. Yeah. Dude, the Venom gear, I mean, it's undefeated. It's undefeated. Whose retirement will have lasted longer, Marlon Moraes or Kevin Holland? I'll say Marlon Moraes. It would not shock me if Kevin Holland returns very, very soon. So, who knows? He might jump in on a short notice fight. One of my friends is from Dundalk, Maryland, so I know a little bit about Baltimore and those. That's awesome. That is very awesome. Do you think the fight ended on strikes to the back of the head in the Colby Usman one? I haven't seen it in a while, but there were some that were questionable, but I mean, it's a finishing sequence. I'm not going to cry about it. Just like I wasn't crying about the Cyril Gane one to Tai Tuivasa. So, do you already read that, Joe? Your channel will grow more when you show us graphics, pictures of fighters. You need to start doing that ASAP. Are you even watching the channel, bro? I already knew once I saw Khamzat tweet Colby there'd be so many clickbait videos today. Yeah. For sure. But mine won't be clickbait. I'll tell you an early prediction for it if I do one. I might not have time to do one though. With the certainty of dude, what are you doing, Derek? How am I supposed to read this? With the certainty of the future, with the uncertainty of the future, what are we saying? If Gaethje does indeed title, I can't read that anymore, dude. Are you drunk right now? You're literally giving me CTE just trying to read that message. So I don't know what that means. The answer is Mike Goldberg, though. The answer to your question is Mike Goldberg. Final answer. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? As I started UFC Undisputed 3 craze, how about I don't even know what that means either. No, I don't even know how to do that, dude. I don't even know how to do that. I don't even know how to play UFC Undisputed 3 on stream. And I really don't have the time right now. Yeah, I don't know what Derek's doing. But the answer is Mike Goldberg for sure. With how things have been going for Conor, is it likely that he gets underestimated by his next opponent, or is he past his prime that it wouldn't make a difference? No, I don't believe anyone that fights Conor, there's gonna be so much hype behind it that I don't think anyone's gonna underestimate him. Anybody who fights Conor McGregor knows what that can mean for their career and their visibility. So I think that I think they'll take it very seriously, regardless of what they think of Conor's skill set. Also Mike Goldberg as well. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think Conor McGregor's a big fight in terms of you can elevate your career off of that. So no matter who fights him, they're going to be like, I got to win this fight. I can't afford a mistake. How many weight misses should a fighter be allowed before they are cut from the promotion? 3. Sterling chokes to TJ out second round. No. Nope. No, I think TJ is going to beat the brakes off of Sterling. I'm very confident in that prediction too. I'm going to start working on predictions, maybe not next week, but the following week, because I got a lot to do. And I make all those graphics for it, even though some people apparently never even seen them. I make all those side-by-sides myself. I make all those tail of the tapes myself. And apparently some people don't even see it. Dude, I'm convinced the UFC is trying to get ready. Armin, they're booking him against Murderers Row. I mean, I guess everyone doesn't get the Sean O'Malley treatment where you just get to fight bums forever. So, I mean, these are great fights. This is how the UFC should be booked. I have no problem with Demirs Magulov versus Mateusz Gamrot. That's an amazing matchup. So I'm not going to cry. And I favor Sarukian in that. Mike Goldberg versus Brandon Fitzgerald. Mike Goldberg all day. Do you think that implementing the hydration test at weigh-ins would mess up the divisions? Yes, for sure. It would be too much of a debacle. It'd be too much of a debacle. TJ versus Yan, who do you got? I got Yan. If Sean beats Yan, I would have to see how he beats him. But it's tough to say. It's tough to say because I would have to see that fight to then guess. But I would pick Yan over TJ, and I'd probably pick TJ over Sean. But if Sean beat Yan, then my opinion could change. But I have to see how he beat him. You know, if he just clipped him in the first 10 seconds and KO'd him, I don't know. Besides you, thank you for the 11 months of membership. Can't wait for O'Malley to shake up the world. I have no idea if that's going to happen. I highly doubt that. And I don't hope that happens. Honestly, I think it'd be really annoying. You know, I think Sean O'Malley could be a massive star, but I want Yan to win. I think that Yan will get the belt back. I favor Yan over everyone in the division. So, do you know Boogie? No, I've never heard of that. Yes, sir. O'Malley by second round TKO. I doubt it, but it's possible. He has a good power. What's up, Joey? The chat doesn't come. It's only when I do that via StreamYard. So I mix it up between OBS and StreamYard. The only Sean winning this year is Brady, you fools. I'm sure there's probably other Seans that are going to win. So, and this year? What do you mean for the rest of this year? I don't know what you're saying. Mentally undefeated, O'Malley defeats Golden Glove Yan with a soccer kick KO. Yeah, if he soccer kicks him, he's going to lose via DQ. You can't just soccer kick anyone you want nowadays. Yan got controlled pretty hard by Sterling. Yeah, but I think Yan just went over there. He underestimated it, and he did these scrambles where he gave up his back. Look at 4 and 5. I am confident that Yan would beat Sterling in a rematch. I am confident Yan would beat Sterling in a rematch. And I'd be more confident than I was in the second fight where I was very confident that Yan would beat him. I'd be even more confident in a third fight. I think Yan is a better grappler than Sean O'Malley. I think Yan is a better grappler than Aljamain Sterling. If they stood on the feet for 5 rounds, Yan would definitely knock him out. I think he would chop the legs and Sean O'Malley probably get stretchered out of the cage with no serious injury. True or false, Yan's biggest weakness is his ego? Probably. Only way Sugar is beating Yan would be decision. Yeah, I don't see him stopping him, but maybe. He's got good power, but maybe. I doubt it. Woodson lost. Strickland lost. Sugar will lose. Brady will win. I'm sure there's other Seans, dude. But maybe you're right. Yan didn't have any of his coaches either. Yeah, and also, I think he just underestimated his ability to get out of that position because he just gave up his back easily as he's trying to scramble out of certain positions. You notice once he realized he couldn't get out of that position, he didn't let it happen again. So, and he won 4 and 5. So, and he was taking down Sterling in the first fight. I think I would be very confident in Yan in a trilogy fight against Sterling. Would you be able to beat Dern in the octagon in 3 rounds? No, she'd definitely submit me. She'd definitely armbar me in like 10 seconds probably. I mean, she has elite jiu-jitsu. Everyone laughs at women's MMA, but but you know, she's got elite level jiu-jitsu. Would you be able to? Okay, I already read that. Okay, so let's talk about Bo Nickal's UFC future. I did a video. Is Bo Nickal overrated? Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. Bo Nickal Tapology. Okay. So Bo Nickal wins last night, and he gets his UFC contract, and people are so confident that now he can compete with the top 15 in the middleweight division. Let's look at these guys he beat. Donovan Beard. Let's see Donovan Beard's record. Donovan Beard is 7-2 now. His wins are against a 3-0 guy, a 3-1 guy, a 7-6 guy, and a 4-3 guy. The rest of the guys have no pro record at the time he defeated them. Garbage cans, okay? All garbage cans. Zach Borrego is now 3-1. He was 3-0 when Bo beat him. He beat a guy that was 4-8 and a guy that's 1-1 and a guy that's 0-1. I mean, these guys are not very good at all. These guys are not very good at all. But he has looked very dominant, and there is something to say for that. He does have elite wrestling. He has good jiu-jitsu, good submission game. But how good? We don't really know, because he is just because he has just gone out of his way the UFC has gone out of their way to give him favorable matchups, but they're in the same point of his career. But I'm curious, who they give him in his first UFC fight. But some people are saying they're going to give him the Sean O'Malley treatment. Some people are saying not. But it's hard to say what's really going to happen. And for Bo Nickal to go out there and starts these guys, I don't think it means a whole lot. And he hasn't shown any striking. And I said this about Khamzat Chimaev before he fought like Gerald Meerschaert and the Leech and Burns and Kevin Holland. I said, he's looked very dominant, but look at the level of competition he's facing. So it's tough. We'll have to see where he goes once he gets into the UFC. I don't think right now he's beating top 15 ranked guys like some people are speculating. I think that's insanity. I think that's straight up insanity that people are suggesting that. Yeah, it's just straight. It's just that's insanity, and I think it's a lot of people who favor wrestling heavy attacks and wrestlers, just NCAA wrestlers. It's just bizarre. It's just straight up bizarre that people are already suggesting he can face top 15 guys in the middleweight division. But I like the attitude. I like the fact that he called out Khamzat Chimaev. I like the fact that he wants to fight these top guys, but I really don't think that, it's just too early to tell if he can be an elite level fighter. That's the way I feel about Bo Nickal. He could have some success. I think he's got a great base for it. But will he? It's way too early to tell. And the people that are telling you, let me exit out all these tabs I have open right now. People telling you that he's going to have this amazing career. Once he fights somebody with some takedown defense, then we're really going to find out. Because at this point in time, he's fought nobodies, guys. He's fought nobodies. Okay, I had like 60 tabs open. Let me finish out this. Hold on 1 second. Okay, there we go. Was it confirmed Bully Khamzat versus Covington, or is it just hearsay? It's not confirmed at all. Where was I at? I lost my spot now talking about Bo Nickal, and I was looking at all these different Tapology pages, and I was losing my train of thought. UFC should just book Umar versus Yanez at this point. Both having a hard time getting matchups, so why not have them fight each other? I don't think they want to kill off two contenders like that. Is Chase Hooper the worst striker in UFC? No. I would probably, maybe Juliana Pena, maybe. I saw her jump on someone else in the octagon just like Oliveira did to Poirier. Okay, come on, Joey, be nice. Yan had a fair chance to beat Aljo in the second fight, and he still got beat. Move on. What do you mean, be nice? Dude, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. I am being plenty nice. I'm giving my opinion. The thing is, Bo at same stage as his career, just like the people he beat. Yes, I'm not complaining about it, but I'm just saying that we have to temper expectations because of that. However, he stand, but that means nothing until we see him submit someone in the first round in the UFC like Chimaev. I mean, the Leech TKO'd the Russian dude, and dude was heavy. His loss against Chimaev aged well. Yes, I agree. Nickal versus Gastelum, thoughts? It's not going to happen. They're not going to give him Gastelum. Kelvin Gastelum is way too good. And he's fighting Nasruddin Imavov. Nickal is going to fight someone in like the 30-40 range in like the world MMA rankings. Was it confirmed Bully Khamzat versus Racist Covington? Was it confirmed Bully Khamzat versus... Oh, I already read that. What are your thoughts on Usman Nurmagomedov? Do you think the UFC will sign him? Usman Nurmagomedov. Isn't he in Bellator? What do you think of Moreno Figueiredo 4? I absolutely love it. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, it's kind of cringe. She even says the same things Khamzat does post-fight interview. I totally agree with you on Bo. Oh, thank you. Which fighter do you think the UFC will get an easier path for, Bo or Joe Pyfer? I think both. He just needs to have a few years to build up experience and be like 13-0. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The UFC is probably going to baby him for a while, but I don't know if they'll accept that for too long. You know, maybe 2-3 fights. Nickal, Bo Nickal versus Chris Curtis, I'm assuming. I would take Chris Curtis at this point. You know, he's had issues with the takedown defense before, but it's been a while, and I think it'd be interesting on the feet for sure. If he could stuff the takedown, it's going to be tough, but that'd be an interesting matchup. But I don't think he beats Chris. There's no evidence to support that he would at this point. If we see a little bit more from the stand-up, and his stand-up looks really good, maybe then. Do you think AJ McKee has a chance in the top 10 in the UFC featherweight division? Yeah, in the top 10, yes, but not at the very top at all. Does Yanez remind you of Jorge at all? No, he does not. Yeah, I'm not even reading this message. How would Gane versus Curtis go? How would Gane versus Curtis go? Probably Curtis out wrestling him would be my thoughts. Can Jamal Hill lose versus the winner of Krylov Volkan? No, I think he'd probably finish both those guys. Did you hear Demir versus Arman is in December? Yes, we talked about that early in the chat. Yeah, people need to chill on Bo. He's not proven yet. Yeah, literally my brain was having CT while I was thinking about it and looking through all his opponents and stuff. To be fair, they're booking Arman versus Gamrot and now Arman versus Gear. They even booked Jack Shore versus Ricky Simone, so why not Yanez Umar? Very true. The bantamweight division is stacked enough to do that. I don't see the UFC letting Bo being active as he would like to be. We'll see. We'll see. Could you see Jorge TKOing Burns? I'd pick Burns, but I could see Jorge being able to pull that off. Curtis has really good takedown defense now. Yeah, he's worked on that for a while. So that'd be an interesting matchup, but I think it's too soon for that for Bo, honestly. True or false, Edwards has a strategic advantage over Usman in the rubber match because although he lost the majority of the fight, he can strategize from what went wrong. Maybe, but I think Usman wins. I'm very confident that Usman wins that one. Curtis Blades. Stop. Who do you think's going to win, RDA or Barberina? I think RDA. Barberina is good, but he's not that good, I don't think. Give him the Bryan battle, then do Nickal versus Petrosky since Battle beat Petrosky. You get it? That'd be fine. I think that'd be fine. Could Jeff Neal beat Shavkat? No, I think Shavkat would win, but that'd be a very interesting matchup. Book it. Edwards is the false king. C-level Edwards. Is that the new mythical MMA fighter? C-level. C-level Leon Edwards. Chimaev versus Curtis Blades and Volkanovski. Okay, dude, come on now. Come on now. That's the dumbest question. Okay, let's talk about McGregor's USADA. Nobody's talking about it barely. McGregor has not been tested in all of 2021. And the fact that Conor McGregor is not being tested is a massive red flag. And then USADA's apparently asked about it, and there's literally no answers. The MMA websites basically put it out. Oh, USADA dispels the rumor, and they put no answers in the article. So I think it's really weird that, you have huge MMA websites that are essentially covering for USADA and Conor McGregor, but there's something going on. 100%. No one can convince me otherwise. There's something going on with Conor McGregor and USADA. The fact that he hasn't been tested, I think he must have some type of medical exemption, and they're not testing him because they know he's on steroids or some type of banned substance. But that's not right. They should be testing him even if that is the case. Because you shouldn't be able to create a loophole to, you shouldn't be able to create a loophole to basically be able to cheat. Even if he's being advised under, medical advice that he needs this stuff. It's weird that they're not answering the question. Why is he not being tested? Why is he the only fighter not being tested? There isn't enough steroids in the world to make Conor top 15 fighter ever again. Well, he's already a top 15 fighter according to the UFC rankings. So I think it's weird the media's ignorance of the story. I think it's weird that they're putting out articles basically running cover for Conor and USADA. I think it's very, very strange altogether. And I don't know, I don't know if anything will ever come of it. I think we have to get an answer at some point. Somebody has to ask, right? But I think Dana will play it off and we'll never really see a real legitimate answer. I really don't think we'll see a legitimate answer out of it ever. And that's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Let me see. I'm trying to look for something real quick. Okay. How would Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill go? That'd be very interesting. I'd probably favor Jamal. I think they would strike and I would favor Pereira probably. But I'd be interested to see in the size discrepancy. I'd be very interested to see the size discrepancy between the two guys. Because Pereira moving up to 205, I don't know how much bigger Jamal Hill would be because Pereira looks massive. Was Conor the only fighter not tested during that time period? Yes. Is Wonderboy still looking good for even 39 years old of age, and how much longer do you see him in the UFC? I think he'll probably be in PFL in the next year or two. If I had to guess. But it's hard to say whether he looked good because he's gotten out wrestled in his last few fights. So we haven't really seen, we haven't really seen him be able to use his full skill set. So I'm looking forward. I hope they give him a decent matchup in his next fight, but I think it's kind of corny saying, I'm not fighting any of these guys I'm going to lose to. I want a winnable matchup. But maybe they will give him one. Mother effer never fights because he's on cocaine cruise. Did you see Dan Hardy's terrible response? I don't know what you're speaking of. He never fights because there's nothing else for him to do. Okay. It's crazy to think, but all Brian Barberina's opponents in the last 3 fights have been over 38 years old. I did not know that. That is very interesting. Is Chandler on the sauce? I can't diagnose guys. I can't diagnose guys from, from pictures online. Just because Chandler's jacked doesn't mean he's on PEDs. So, I have no idea. But maybe. I mean, I think a large percentage of professional athletes are on PEDs. I'm just not one to diagnose via Instagram pictures. I'm not one to diagnose through Instagram pictures. I think that's a weird thing to do. Okay. Muhammad Usman versus Almeida matchup, 2 smaller heavyweights. I doubt they're going to give Usman that fight already. I think Usman would get smashed by Jonathan Almeida. And I think Usman's bigger than Almeida, though. Is Aaron Pico legit? He's getting into his prime and he's an elite level wrestler. Do you think he's going to the UFC when his contract ends? I think he's okay. But I don't necessarily think... There was a lot of hype behind him when he came to Bellator. I don't think he's something crazy special, but I think he's very good. Does he come to the UFC? I doubt it. I think Bellator will lock him up forever and just hype him up. Poirier versus Chandler. And Gamrot versus Dariush. Who you picking? I'm taking Poirier and I'm taking... probably Gamrot. I've switched back and forth. Dariush coming off the injury, being older. I'm probably taking Gamrot. But does he beat Poirier? No. Genetics are real. People forget. Very true. When will you post vids about 280? I've already posted vids about 280. But if you're asking about predictions about 280, within about 10 days beforehand, I'm going to be pumping out prediction videos. 2 weeks beforehand, I'll grade the card because I like to wait until it gets close. Geary versus Wonderboy. Sign me up. I like that idea. Wonderboy probably wins that one. If Marlon Moraes has a very good chin, how would him versus Yan go? I think Marlon would have won if he had a good chin, to be honest. Do you think a reporter would risk their job by asking Dana? I think they would ask him, but then when he brushed it off like it was nothing, I think they wouldn't ask a follow-up question. I don't think they would ask a follow-up question at all. Guys, do me a favor. If you haven't already, like the stream. Run up the likes on the stream. There's 60 people in here. There's only 30 likes. And if you have any final questions, throw them in the chat. We usually go for about an hour, hour and a half. So probably go for another few minutes. And then I'm going to get out of here and go get something to eat. So throw your questions in the chat. I might have a video coming out later tonight. Pico's a beast. He fought reckless early in his career and he's shown mad improvements. Yeah, I think he's looked better. When Dariush beat Ferguson, they said it was a young man games. Now they say the same thing when he's fighting Gamrot. Very true. Least dangerous fighter in the UFC? Juliana Pena? I don't know. What was the whole Mark Zuckerberg thing at this weekend's event? Supposedly he rented out the whole arena. So nobody else is going to be there. No fans or anything, but just Zuckerberg. And he doesn't want any media there. By the way... Yeah, I saw that. We talked about it earlier in the stream. I want to see AJ McKee in the UFC as well. I would like to see him in there. I'd like to see him in the UFC. But it doesn't look like it's ever going to happen. But maybe. Doesn't he got one more fight? Did he sign a new contract? I can't remember. I cannot remember. But I hope one day he could make it. He's shown interest for sure. Carlos Barza, yeah. Carlos Barza is another one. Who rents out the whole place, especially for a shit card like that? What movies have you seen recently? Top Maverick? Top Gun Maverick? Yeah, I've seen that, but not recently. I saw that in July or June when it came out. Joe, are the Bo Nickal fans your favorite? Yeah, they're actually delusional. They're acting like Bo Nickal is some elite of the elite when he has not proved anything yet. So I find it really bizarre. I think it's these weird wrestling fanboys. I think it's these weird wrestling fanboys is what's going on there, in my opinion. But it is bizarre, but it's not something we haven't seen before. We see it all the time. When, certain guys come over from, here or there, they act like it's some massive threat to the champion of the division when he's beating nobodies. Would Amanda Nunes beat top 5 male flyweight? It's hard to say. I don't know. I think Bellator did a smart move because they won. He won that Pitbull fight 3-2, but they gave it to Pitbull, and prior McKee had been talking about a UFC move. I thought that Pitbull got it, but it was a very close fight. It was a very close fight. All right, guys. I am going to get out of here. I might be back later doing a video. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to head out of here. Don't forget to like the stream on your way out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And thank you very much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll probably be back on Friday doing a one championship stream. I'm not 100% sure, but bare minimum, I'll be back on a stream for Saturday for Bellator 286. So thank you guys for watching the live chat. I greatly appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your night.